Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Indie Direct. Now I have a question for you today. Do you like hardcore turn-based survival games? Do you like The Walking Dead? Well then clearly I have a game just for you. Because in today's video we'll be looking at the newly released title, Z Dawn. It came out December 6th and only costs $10. Z Dawn is a fast-paced turn survival game in which you have to survive a zombie apocalypse, where the ultimate goal is to find a cure and evacuate your survivors. But for that, you must scavenge for supplies, deal with whatever the world throws at you, upgrade your encampment, defend against zombie hordes, and deal with the occasional looter. And as many of you would expect in a zombie survival game, of course you gotta deal with things like hunger, supplies, your health, ammo, weaponry, armor, clothing, anything to actually help you survive. Which includes things like wood and other construction materials to make your small little encampment a literal fortress to help you survive against the zombie hordes. But obviously the point of any real survival game is you don't actually just sit around an encampment and hope for the best. You actually need to go out into the world and explore to find all your materials and supplies, which actually makes the game very interesting because there's a bunch of random objects and items and even encounters around the world that actually changes how everything works. For instance, you can walk down the road and find a few cars. You can search the cars and find items. You can find old abandoned houses, go in there and take whatever you want. You can also find whole cities, prison, construction complex. Everything is searchable and it takes a while to completely search it, so there are plenty items to find. There are also a bunch of random encounters, which some are like skill checks. Like if you bump into a car and the alarm goes off, you can either try to run away as fast as possible to avoid the zombies, you can try to hide from the zombies, or if you're smart enough, you can even disable the car alarm so zombies can't find you. Other encounters are possibly finding a survivor that's been bitten by a zombie. If you have a good enough doctor and they're smart enough, you have a chance of amputating a limb or a body part or whichever to actually help them survive and they will join the group. Sometimes you can even find enemy groups that will try to intimidate you to take your things, or you can be diplomatic and make a trade. So you never really know what's gonna turn around the next corner. And speaking of that doctor, every character you start with and find actually has a previous occupation. Like for instance, if they were a police officer, they have higher skills with handguns and shotguns. If they're in the military, SMGs and assault rifles. A civil engineer can help you build everything around your encampment faster. The actual doctor, if they were a surgeon, has a higher chance of successfully amputating limbs in case someone gets bitten, and they produce a med kit every 100 turns. So pretty much every new survivor that joins your group will change how you decide to play and what you decide to do next, depending on what their previous profession is and what their skills are. Now onto the world itself. The game will always generate a new map when you start a new game, so everything's going to be completely different no matter how many games you play. So every new map will have different random spawning hordes or different super boss enemies, kind of like the Tyrant from the Resident Evil series, that will accost you and attack your encampment throughout the game, which makes it pretty exciting. There are also several different endings to the game, depending on how you play and what your group mindset is, which is to be try to survive and help people, or be bandits and take whatever you want, will change the ending. But I'm not going to spoil that for you, you're just going to have to figure that one out for yourself. Now, I really don't have much negative to say about this game, but the only real thing I have to say is I can see how it can get seriously boring for some people. Especially early on in the game, because when I first started, majority of my turns were really spent skipping turns just to gather wood or search for supplies, so I'm constantly just hitting the space bar to skip turn, skip turn, skip turn for several 30, 40 turns in a row just so I can keep finding stuff, and the only real break of the monotony is the occasional pop-up for an encounter or a zombie horde I gotta deal with. For me, who likes strategy games, that's not a big problem for me, but anyone who wants a more really fast-paced, something's always going on in a game, I can see how it could, make people not want to keep playing just because it's so monotonous and grindy early on until more hordes, boss enemies, and NPC survival groups actually come and change how things are going. But besides that, I really don't have anything bad to say about the game. It's cheap, and you'll get several hours of gameplay, plus it's got high replayability just because everything's constantly random, plus all the different random encounters, plus you can go nice guy one game to I want to be a bandit and just take everything I want the next game. So for anyone who actually enjoys strategy survival games, I would definitely recommend picking this one up. Goldenrod Games may only be ran by one developer, but they are constantly working on the game, listening to critiques, and are fixing every single thing they can, even back when the game was in early access, and just because it's finally a full release does not mean they are stopping. So go ahead and reach into your pocket and take out that $10 and buy this game, because you won't regret it. Now that's all for today's video, but before I go, I know you love what we're doing here at the channel, so why don't you leave a like, subscribe, and if you have a game you'd like us to review so you don't have to waste any of your precious cash but make us waste it instead, let us know in the comments below. But I will see you in the next video. Later.